Hey everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Amazonet's Raw. Today we are talking about bidding and bid adjustments, multipliers, and how campaigns at Amazon are using your inputs to calculate an effective bid. And for that reason, because it's very hard to show that, in a real life example, because you don't see in the campaigns like your effective bids, you just see what you put in there on many different areas in the ad console. So it's not in one place, right? So bid adjustments are on bid adjustments, audiences are on audiences, the keywords are on keywords. So there's many different areas where you can have things that are impacting your effective bid. So I built a little simulator tool to kind of show you how this all works together. And let me explain you the tool first, and then we go through a real life example with you guys, and then I'll hope at the end of the video you understood a little bit more how everything works together. So first of all, on each Amazon sponsored product campaign, you have three different campaign bidding strategies that you can set. There's fixed bids, dynamic down only, and dynamic up and down. Depending on what you choose, this will have an impact on your bids. Besides that, also on campaign level, you have your placement and audience multipliers. There's now a new video multiplier as well. Let's forget about this for a second because this is very new. Let's cover what is there for a while already. We have top of search, rest of search product pages since half a year roughly, or maybe even a year. There's Amazon Business as its own tab. So it's not necessarily a fourth placement here. It's more like an extra placement or even website, right? So we can also create campaigns that are just for Amazon Business. So think about this placement not as a fourth placement, but think about this as a different website, similar to audiences. Audiences are relatively new, and these are more like another layer on top of everything else. So these are all the adjustments that we can do. So we have campaign bidding strategy, we have our free placements, we have Amazon Business, and we have audiences. And then obviously we have our keywords or our targets where we set the bids, what I call base bid. And then depending on what you select and what you're putting, there will be a calculation done, and this results into an effective bid. This is what I call an effective bid, meaning this is the bid that will go into the auction. And I created a little visualization here on the side as well, so it's rather easy to follow. Let's use this example keyword here with $1 bid. I use $1 because it's super simple. At fixed bids and zero adjustments, your $1 is always the effective bid everywhere. It's not going to be higher, it's not going to be lower. Very simple. Now let's add something for top of search. Now we add 50% on top of search. Now you'll see that for some areas, your bid will be going up. Not on all of them, right? Rest of search, still $1. Product pages, still $1. Top of search is now $1.50 because we add 50% of the initial bid. So $1 plus 50% of $1 is $1.50. Now let's see for audiences, right? Audiences kind of the same. We didn't have any audience adjustments, so we have the same rest of search, top of search product pages, kind of same distribution. For Amazon Business, this means on top of search for Amazon Business, you're at $1.50. Now let's do a little bit more, what you eventually see in some real life campaigns. We saw Amazon Business converts good, so we add another 15% here. And we also added an audiences, high likelihood to convert, and we added another 25% here. Now, in this scenario, we'll get very different bid outcomes, as you can see, depending on what the customer is and where he is. So this doesn't mean that this will be your CPC. It means your CPC will range from, and let's assume your bid is also your CPC. Obviously, there's a spread. If I bid $1, my CPC will not be $1, but it will be 99 cents or 95 or 90, depending on the competition. But depending on what my effective bid was going into the auction, this can be higher, obviously, than $1. So in this scenario, rest of search still at $1, top of search 150. Now, if the customer is in the audience that we selected, my rest of search bid will go up to 125 because I have a 25% audience adjustment. So assuming that the people that see my ad through my keywords are in the audience, that will increase all my effective bids for all the placements by 25%. So on top of search, I'm already at 188, which is this bar here. And if they're also on Amazon business.amazon.com, then the bid will be 173 for top of search. And if they're in the audiences and on Amazon Business, the bid will be 216. Now have this in mind when you think about bidding. It depends on where did you set a multiplier, where is the customer, and this will give you a different range of bids. Now it gets a little bit more complicated when you layer in these different campaign strategies, because fixed bid means Amazon is not changing your base bid. It only changes, if your base bid is $1, it's not changing it. The only way it can be changed is through the multipliers that you add here. Now, if you select any of these dynamic strategies, this gives Amazon the ability to work with the base bid depending on the likelihood of a conversion. Down only means Amazon can lower your base bid if they think the conversion is not likely to happen. Have this in mind. This gives even more room for a bid to be, or it gives even more, effectiveness. But let's choose dynamic up and down. This means Amazon can change the base bid down to 0% or a plus 100%. So there's like Amazon can basically double your bid if they think it's very likely that the person can convert. Now, how will this result into our effective bids? Basically, the way the app is showing it here, the effective bid kind of stays the same. So you see this is kind of the same, this is kind of the same. However, the range is now different. So when you look here, range would be 1 to 1, 150 to 150. So there is no range. The effective bid is the effective bid. There is no range of uncertainty, basically. So with fixed bids, you can define per each placement, audience, and website, Amazon Business being the website here, what your effective bid shall be. This is very important to have that in mind because this is, how you can effectively bid. For up and down, you'll get now a range. And you have no control over that range because Amazon's algorithm is choosing whether to reduce the base bid or to increase it. So for a mental model, you should, in fact, kind of take the highest point of that range as your effective bid to understand, hey, if Amazon would increase by 100%, what would that mean for my bid? So you're not getting surprised if you pay $4. And let's go down one by one so you understand what I mean. With up and down on rest of search, where we have 0 adjustments, this means from $1, our range can be 0 or $2, right? It can go up 100%. So it can go up to $2 on rest of search. For top of search, where we have a modifier of 50%, it can be 0 to $3. And the likelihood of being 0 is almost not given. So I think, statistically speaking, or not statistically, but from a experience speaking, it's more likely that Amazon bids up. It's not unlikely that Amazon bids down, but it's very unlikely that you're not getting into the auction, I think, or getting a super low bid. So this can be already going up to $3. Now let's look at audience, at the combination with audience, because audience we gave another 25%. This means the effective, let's say, effective base bid or effective, I don't know how to call it. Effective base bids here for top of search and audiences is 188. So the range can be 0 to 375. right? 188 plus 100% means 375. Or basically the calculation is a little different, right? It's 1 and so on. And that means for a Amazon business placement that is in the audiences and that is on top of search, you might pay up to $4.31. And now, if you understood this kind of way of behavior, it will give you kind of a sense of, hey, I have many different levers where I can actually set bids. And now imagine you have like different keywords with different bids, and you have like different, also very different ranges and so on and so forth. And now you'll understand that, depending on what you're doing here, some of these terms can go up really, really high. This one, for example, here, oh no, wait a second, example 3. This can go up to $9 just because the base bid is $2.25, even though I have not made any crazy adjustments here, I think. But the combination of $2.25 plus the top of search, plus the business, plus the audiences, plus up and down, this can go up to almost $10 in bids. And you need to have this in mind because your campaign structure is very much important for effective bidding. The main levers for bid manipulation beyond the base bid, which is on the keyword or target level, so your ASINs that you target, or your keywords or categories or even audiences, this is the base bid. There's no, let's say, no manipulation happening here. The manipulation happens for sponsored products on the campaign level, where you have all of these adjustments, right? You have the strategy, you have the placements, you have a business, you have audiences, and now you also have videos, and soon you'll have prompts where you can do some adjustments. So that's why I think for very important terms, for your highest volume terms, it does make sense to have a single target campaign because of all of these different adjustments and all of these different places where this can show up. And if you really want to have control, you cannot have this run in a mixed targeting campaign where all of these settings and adjustments will ticker down to all of the targets, right? So the way you see it here is not the way you would see it on Amazon, right? On Amazon, you have these targets and you have these adjustments, but maybe this keyword is working very well on top of search, even with a 50% adjustment, but this doesn't work well on top of search. It only works on rest of search. So for this, I don't want to give top of search because it's already too expensive. So I want to give it more rest of search, and so on and so forth. I think, and I hope you got what I'm trying to tell you here. Let me know in the comments if not. And with that, stay curious. Bye-bye.